My name is Jasmine Toffa, Member of Parliament for Bulawayo Metropolitan under proportional representation. I am also the cluster leader for the Insiza by-election.
What really happened and what brings you here in this hospital?
Okay, we were doing our routine mobilization and we're doing our routine mobilization as well as inspiring voters to go out and vote. We had just arrived at the house, the candidate's house, Augustine Gumede's house, where we had brought some food for the teams that had gone out to voter mobilization. When we got there and gave the food to the team leaders, they told us there was no mealie meal. We then tasked Ntando Ndlela to go out and buy the mealie meal. And Angila Kala was also there, going to pick up the other teams that had finished with, with their door-to-doors. Within about half an hour of their leaving the premises, I saw Sengezo, a young man, a youth, by the name of Sengezo, coming running out of the bush with his hands up, and he seemed to be in a panicky mood. And I said, "Hey, with Zagalani, there's Sengezo coming. What's the problem?" So he then carried on running. So I thought maybe they had an accident or something. So he came close to me, or close to the house from the bush, and he says, things are not good, things have gone bad that side. So I said, what is it? And he said, look, untando labo mapanga sebechaiwe, untando selimele. So we said, what is it? He says, no, ngabantu bezanu bamchai. So I then said, hey, guys, let's go out, let's go and help. So he says, no, you can't go because there are a lot of them. So I said, but we can't leave them for dead on their own. So he says, no, you can't go there. There's lots of cars, there's lots of people, they've got guns. So I said, but we can't just stand here. And then next thing I saw Angila Kala, he's much older. He was also running through the bush and coming, and he was saying, go and hide. So we're saying, no, how can we go and hide? So he says, go, it's bad, So he says, Nyawutshela Toffa, amanile ecatsha. We then started discussing with the other people. So I said, look, we are safe here. We are at the candidate's house. I don't think that they would come into the yard where the homestead Umuziga candidate, because everybody expects you to be there and they'll respect the candidate's house. We then, whilst we were still discussing, and others, were talking, and they said, I think the councillor better go. At least if they do decide to come, he'll be safe. The councillor disappeared, and we stayed and we thought, we're safe here. Nobody will come into the yard. Then next thing, we just saw cars driving in. They drove into the yard very fast. There were about 4 or 5 cars. We ran into the house. We closed the door. When we got into the house, these guys came banging. Vulanini, open, Vurai. Then we were still in the room, and he broke the window open. And now we were scared. And he said, get out, everyone get out. He says, Van Vedua. And when he said, Van Vedua, would I come on, out. Then he looked at me and he says, who are you? I said, my name is Jasmine Toffa. Where are you from? I said, I'm an MP for Bulawayo Metropolitan. So as I was still talking, the next thing, women and the people they were being pulled out of the room and they were being beaten. And as I walked towards the door, I was also pulled out and they just started beating. And when they were beating us, and they kept saying, honorable, from where? From which constituency? I saw the other women being beaten in the lounge, and then we came out. They got me out of the house, stood me by the door, and there were like 2 women and 2 men that were beating me continuously. The one woman actually looked at me and made a sound, tried to scare me. So I looked at her like, what are you doing? And then they said to me, are you sure that you support CCC? So I said, yes. Are you sure that you are supporting Ugumete? So I said, yes. Are you sure that you are selling out ilizwe, litengisa ilizwe emini kangaka? So I said, yes. So I said, but tell me, why did you allow for the candidates to go to nomination court? Why did you not just declare this candidate as, as the sole candidate? And as I'm talking, they beat me. They hit me on my back here. They hit me. Can you see? They hit me on here. They beat me on my legs. There's bruises. You can have a look. See, they beat me on my backside, on my thighs. Then, as I was standing, the one guy, stood and he gave me a karate kick, which hit me right here. There's some pictures that you'll see that I took initially.
Is that how you get this black mark below your eye?
Yeah, you see the blue eyes, I think, came from this boot that I got here. And fortunately, I didn't fall. For some reason, I didn't even cry. They wanted me to sit down. I refused to sit down. They asked me to remove my shirt that I was wearing. And I said, why? They said, because it's regalia. So I said, we're allowed to wear regalia, but this is not regalia. This is my yellow shirt, and I've got nothing underneath. I won't take it off. In the meanwhile, the women behind me and the men around me were being made to take off their tops. The old women, some of them had no bras. Some had, they had to be naked as they were. They pushed me to move away from the door, and they kept hitting me. I've got marks all the way, on my backside and on my hands. And you see, like every time they were hitting, I was blocking. And that's what resulted in the fracture. I have a fracture here, and I have a fracture on my wrist. I think it's instinct for one to block when somebody's beating you the way that they were beating. It was so painful to see old people being pulled out and beaten. They spilled the food that was there, that was being cooked. They spilled. They took the meat. Everything was just strewn all over. I've got pictures to that effect. They were just randomly hitting people. They broke the councillor's furniture in the house. They broke the TV. They broke the lounge suite. They broke the asbestos sheets that he used, obviously, to build his homestead. And some people were running away, trying to get away from these guys, and they would call them back, come on, get back here. And they definitely wanted me to sit. Once you sit down, they beat the hell out of you. And I refused to sit because it made no difference whether I sat or if I stood, they were going to hit me. So I felt better standing.
So, were there any people that you identified?
Personally, there were no people that I knew that I identified. I heard from one of the girls that was beaten that one of the females, they know her. Toya Kamanzi Lapaba Abahlala Kona. And this the same young girl, 18-year-old, had been pushed aside and they were trying to take off her skirt. They broke her skirt open and they were telling her to take off her skirt like they wanted to rape her. It was so traumatic. It was very traumatizing.
And were these, in your opinion, were these ordinary Zanu PF people, or
they were, the ordinary Zanu PF people? I don't know how I could put that. The guy that opened the window, that said we must get out, was wearing a Zanu PF cap, definitely wearing one. There was a few others also that were wearing Zanu PF regalia, but these, even they looked strong. They were doing, the guy that did the karate kick must be training martial arts or something. He wanted to show that he had the skill. For them to be saying you're selling out
so
the country.
Showing karate skills on a woman?
On a woman, yes. And even as they hit, I said to them, are you sure? And they would hit and say, honorable. Honorable from where? Honorable. And I tell them, and then they would beat me, and I would look at them like, are you really for real? How could you hit a woman, or how could you hit women for that matter? Defenseless. We were not expecting them to come into the yard. Had we been found on the street, maybe they could say we provoked them. But having been found in the yard, doing what we are expected to be doing, it is campaign time. And why they took off all the shirts, campaign t-shirts, why they were asking me to remove regalia as though I'm not allowed to wear it, it's mind-boggling.
So, what do you say about these women whose tops were removed?
It is so dehumanizing. It is all, when we talk about the 50-50, the equality, getting women to participate in politics, people that look up to us as politician women, women or young girls that want to become MPs, how do you expect them to want to be an MP if they see an MP being beaten, a woman MP for that matter?
How old were the women who were stripped?
They were varying. From the one that I spoke about, she's 18, Smangeliso, her name is, maybe I shouldn't be mentioning a name, I could be endangering her. They were from 18 up to about 50, 60-year-old women.
And how old were the assailants in your estimation?
There were some young ones, maybe around the ages of 20, 25, 30. They weren't very old.
Honorable Jasmine Toffa, thank you for the interview.
Thank you.